Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co-host Tracy.
Hey.
How you doing, ma'am?
Good. I've had an extra long weekend. I took off work Thursday and Friday, knowing that
Mm,
we had Monday off. So I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I had some good downtime.
that is a nice. I went to Ohio for the weekend with my grandson Darius. We went to a basketball tournament. It's called Neo Light Northeast Organization basketball tournament, and it was really good. First time I've been to Cleveland, I think.
Mm,
I
okay.
would not suggest it in the winter time, only because there was not a lot to do and it snowed. So I know we had a snowstorm here and there was one there as well. And it started Saturday morning and really lasted off and on until like this morning. And I left out this morning. So I was nervous that I was not even going to be able to get out of the city on time. Nope,
That's
didn't, but
good news.
yeah, it was. So at least the airlines was running. And I wasn't like their airport is small.
I don't remember if I know I've been in the Cleveland airport, but I think the
Hmm.
only time I went to Ohio, I went to a very small town called Chardon. Shout outs to my girl Julie who lives out there. I drove out there for her wedding. I drove from Boston to Chardon, Ohio. It was like 16 hours a solo trip. That's my girl. That's my girl. So I drove out there.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot because it was an hour and a half from Boston.
See, that's good. Listen, I was young, broke, and dumb as hell when I drove to Ohio by myself.
I've driven to Ohio. I don't know what part we went to. It was to see relatives, and I want to say they live in Springfield, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm driven there from. We did a big road trip one year when my kids were
I
younger.
love the Midwest though. My family lives in the Midwest, and I've spent a lot of winters in Indiana, not in
Hmm.
Ohio, but they're neighboring
Hmm.
states. So it's kind of a similar vibe. But when I tell you, you didn't miss anything, girl, because it snowed really bad here and we had terrible rain, freezing rain on top of that. It was disgusting. So you probably had a way better weekend out in Ohio hanging with Darius.
Not begrudging it. I stayed at a Courtyard Marriott, and
Love the
the
mayor.
staff was like fabulous. They were, really great. And we were staying there, so there was like they had basketball, some people from the basketball tournament there. They had a hockey tournament going on and a girls volleyball tournament going on. So they were all at the hotel,
So just
and
a bunch of teens hanging around at the hotel.
man,
It must have been mayhem. Darius must have been in his element.
it wasn't bad at all. So they were pretty decent.
That's cool. That
Right?
sounds like a lot of fun.
It was a good turnout for the tournament, and he's already asking to go to another one in June there. I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know," but I'd
That's
much rather
a good
go in the
time. In the
summertime.
summertime, I'm sure it's probably
Yeah,
lit. In
I think there's
Cleveland,
a lot more to do.
when I think of Cleveland, I just think of Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm trying to remember what else the Cavaliers, like I don't know what else Cleveland is.
And the Cavaliers were not there because I would have definitely did a game. They weren't there because it was the NBA All-Star weekend,
I
and they were in
watched.
San Francisco.
Yeah, I watched. I
Did
watched
you?
the slam dunk competition on Saturday, and we watched the games on yesterday on Sunday night. It was okay.
I
I personally
still
was a little bored.
I wasn't impressed with what I saw either. I mean, I saw the 3-point challenge. I saw that. That was pretty decent. I did watch the slam dunk. And when I saw who was about to win, I was just like, I'm not gonna watch anymore. And then I was pretty much so done. Instead of watching the game, we actually went to go see Captain America,
Oh,
Brave
nice.
New World in 3D.
Ooh, I
There's
know that
one
was
scene
good.
There was one scene, and the 3D, like, remember back in the day, 3D glasses were horrible for
Yeah.
us. They were those paper ones, and if you had glasses, you were just bum out of luck. But they were the paper ones, and it had like the green shield
Blue
and
and
then
red.
the blue. Yeah, it was the blue. Was it blue and red? Yeah, or was it green?
I think it was blue and red.
Okay, it could
And
have been.
white glasses, blue and red.
and paper. And so now they have them and they're more like,
Those
sunglass
black ones.
style. And so it's easier for me who wears glasses, and Darius wears glasses too. So it's easier for us. But there was one part in their shooting, and girl, it just came out of nowhere, and that bullet was coming. I thought I was
You
shot.
thought you were done. You thought you were it was a wrap for you.
We both jumped. We both. What would have made it better is if it was in 4D.
There is 4D available.
I know, but for this movie?
I believe so. I actually saw Anthony Mackie on the Sherry Shepherd show.
Uh-huh.
Sherry. And it was the Valentine's episode. If you get a chance, you can go back and watch it. And I also saw him on Dish Nation the week before that, and he brought the shield. He was showing them the cast on Dish Nation how to hold the shield, how he like
Mhm.
what you have to do to throw it and stuff. I didn't realize Anthony Mackie is a really funny person.
He is. He
He
is.
is he has a great sense of humor, and apparently
Mhm,
he's from New
mhm.
Orleans.
But they say also he's that guy. Don't come up to him asking him for an autograph. He's not that one. If he's
Okay.
out enjoying his time with his family, respect it. And I respect that. But I do like him. I do like him a
Well, he
lot.
is single, lady. So when you say family, I don't know who family all is.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any kids either.
He was
But
letting
I guess if
Sherry
he's out
know
hanging out with his
with
brother,
his
or his
people.
sister,
Yeah.
whatever, his whoever, he's with his peeps, he wants to be with his peeps. And I guess it's how people approach him too. Because some people say, "Oh my gosh, he was really kind of rude," and other people are like, no, he was very polite. But how you approach people when they're out in public? We all know that, that's the price of fame. People wanted to jump up on you and get your autograph or something, but we have to learn how to do better.
So I've been curved before by a celebrity, and I learned my lesson after that day.
Oh, really?
Yes, badly, badly. And I was a
Tell the
little
story.
pissed off.
Tell the story.
So anyway, I
Tell the
was
story.
I was at the Roots Festival in Philadelphia, and
Hmm.
there's tons of celebrities there, people performing, people just in the audience or whatever. And I saw Special Ed. Anybody born probably after 1990 probably has no idea who Special Ed is.
Hmm.
But in our day,
Remembering. I know he's in a rap group.
he was a rapper. He was a solo artist, Special Ed, and he sang a song called I Got It Made. And he was so cute, so handsome, beautiful curly hair. I mean, he was adorable, okay,
Mhm.
back in his day. Fast forward decades later at the Roots Festival in like 2016 or wherever I ran into him. I just saw him on the grounds. Like I was, walking around from stage to stage, and I saw him, and I was like enamored. I had to
Mhm.
go up to him, and I just like had this drive to go say hello. I didn't want an autograph or anything. I just wanted to say hi.
Just say hello.
But he was eating, and he
Oh.
didn't like it.
Mhm.
And he let me know. He was like, "You don't approach people when they're eating." He's like, "I'm eating right now." I was just like, embarrassing, but noted. And I learned my lesson after that, that there's a time and a place to approach anyone, but
Mhm.
people like that. And it would have been easy for me to be like, oh, he's rude, he's this and that. And
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I don't like people interrupting me when I'm eating either. I feel you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what they say about Mackie, that he's that guy, take it slow. Read the room, see what his facial expression is like before
He
you run
seems
up
really
on that
like a
man.
down to earth person. I think,
That's what I get. A
yeah,
lot of
I think
people
in the
say
right
that.
place and time. Apparently, he likes to cook too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was
Oh, and
running
he's
it
from
all
New
down
Orleans.
on the show. He likes to, and he said he's not on any dating apps. He's not like for all of that. He just wants to make a genuine connection
Hmm.
with whoever, a woman when he meets her, and he's just not into all that. And he's like, for him, a fun night out is like he'll cook for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, he sounds like he's an interesting, nice guy.
So it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
So
Darius
I
really
have not heard
enjoyed
any
it.
backlash. Have you about Black Captain America? Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
would think there would be like an upward. The way they went in on Little Mermaid, I'm not feeling that energy towards
Hmm.
him.
Well, it is, but I've started tuning it out as well. But
I
they
haven't seen
started
it.
they started talking their Dita about him when it was announced that he was going to be Captain
Mm,
America. And so I really haven't been on the internet like this weekend, so I don't know if there was like any, big brush on it, this these last couple of days. But yeah, I saw a couple of things, but you know what? I just immediately just keep going, keep scrolling. I don't even need to entertain it. Not everything is for you. And speaking of what's not for you, our Eagles did win.
Go Eagles.
Our Eagles did
Congratulations.
win.
That game was a ass whooping. That was just like a
The
good old
score
fashioned ass whooping.
did not reflect the ass whooping they got. That score did not reflect
No,
that.
because
They
they
shut
rallied at the
them,
end. The
and
Chiefs
that was
rallied.
after they took off the starters. When they took the starters out, that's when you got to 22.
By halftime, they had zero still.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and we went. I told you guys I was going to a Super Bowl party.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with Super Bowl parties is you don't always get to
Watch.
observe the game exactly in the same manner that you would if you were home by
Mm-hmm.
yourself or whatever. This was a really good party because it
Mm-hmm.
was good food. People respected the fact that, some people wanted to enjoy commercials, some people wanted to watch the game
Mm-hmm.
and the halftime show and all. It was a good mix of people. It was a really good party. And the hostess was like, "Y'all leaving already?" I'm like, "Ma'am, it is almost midnight. We need to go home. I got work in the morning." But we had a
I
good
was not
time.
going to watch it, remember? Because I said,
Yes.
I'm coming in for the halftime. I want to make
Yeah.
sure I watch halftime and see Kendrick. And so 7 minutes before the halftime, I started watching it, and there was an interception, and I was locked in after.
It was a
Because
really good game.
there were two reasons I didn't want to watch. I'm so tired of seeing Kansas City. I was so glad that they got shut down.
Apparently, a
And
lot of people.
yeah, yeah. And I thought that they were going to be panning to Trump like the whole game. But they did a fabulous job not throwing that man in our faces. I didn't see him the entire game.
I didn't see him at all either. I
Hmm.
honestly missed Taylor Swift getting booed. For some reason, I missed that moment, but they showed her one time, and when they booed her, they never showed her again.
Oh wow. Yeah, I read that she got booed, but I didn't know how accurate that
It
was.
was a booing.
So Kendrick had now I've heard a lot, seen a lot from those people about the performance that it was too
Ah,
black, it was too ghetto. I have just a tiny little clip, a tiny clip, and let's see
go ahead and play it
if
for him.
because I was very impressed. I was so impressed
It
with it.
was the best halftime show I've ever seen.
Okay, and then we're gonna talk about that in a minute, but let's see if I can get this clip. So
Ah, loved it.
stop. That halftime, one, I was shocked he did that clip. But to me, visually, with those black men dancing, them all being a
The
parts of
American
the
flag.
American flag, show we built this country. He had so much nuance to it. It was for Black History Month, blackity black black black, and who was it? The girl who sang with him,
SZA.
she was fire too.
That's my
Now I know why that's your girl. Now I know that.
that was an appetizer for what
Yeah.
SZA has to offer as an artist. But they're really great at collaborating. But from the jump, okay, everyone was like eyes glued. We were waiting for this Kendrick moment.
Most watched halftime.
Most watched, and I think he has three songs in the Billboard top whatever. He's blown everything
He
off.
blew up after
But when
even
you
more.
even just from the onset of the beginning of the halftime game, the halftime performance, I was like Squid Games. Did you notice that? The
Yep.
layout? I was like,
Yep.
oh my God, Squid Games. The metaphor for just being black in America, and even if you follow all the rules, they try to trick you so much and they killing us for no reason. Like I was just like, my mind was
Fabulous.
blown, it was open.
Samuel L.
Samuel
Jackson, stop being Uncle
being
Sam.
the voice of America, being the voice of Uncle Sam, all the negativity that they try to pile on us, that was the most beautiful, elegant way. First of all, for people to say they didn't understand what was happening, I'm like, are you dumb? How do you not understand
But
what's
those are
happening
the
here?
same people that don't want to. They don't want to even understand racism. But one of the things I will say, watching it, you did not hear it. The sound quality was not good for his mic. So, but if you go to NFL, it's so clear, so crisp,
I
and you
know
can
all the
hear
songs.
every word.
I
That
didn't
was the
even
difference.
I
We
didn't
know
put
the
all the
songs, so
oh, you
we
mean
know.
Samuel's. Okay.
No, no, I'm talking about Kendrick.
Okay.
So Kendrick, you know all the songs, so you could kind of follow around, but still his mic, it didn't pick up what I thought that it should have. And then watching it again, I watched it like 4 times already because I absolutely love it. I mean,
So
to
I've
me,
watched it
yeah,
repeatedly. I recorded it and I
it's a
watched it
gem.
multiple times. And you know, I'm a fashion girly. So the
Mhm.
bell bottoms, I'm like, all these men are gonna be rocking bells. They're all gonna come out in bell bottoms this whole rest of this year. I think that's gonna be a top Halloween costume. I think, you know, the Kendrick, the Florida jacket with the he made those bell bottoms look so amazing. I just was
I don't
like,
think anybody can make bell bottoms look good for me, but I'll give him
I
the
don't know if
pass.
I want to see any man in them other than
I
him.
don't. I
But those
absolutely
jeans
do
have
not.
already sold out
I
online.
know, I saw that too.
Yeah.
So what was his line about influencers or you can't fake influence or something like that?
Yeah.
He was on point. First of all, when Samuel L. Jackson came out and his whole thing was you can't be too ghetto, you can't be this. It was the
It was the voice of
restriction of how,
American.
white America wants to see black men specifically. Quiet, well-mannered, not, not ruffling any feathers. And he's like, and then when he came out with SZA, he was like, yes, that's what
This is what we
America
want. That's
wants.
something
This is
soft.
the calm, this is the soft side. And then he came out with the not like us. He was like, ah. But did a fabulous job. And everybody kept saying they have never seen a blacker NFL performance. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling. But NFL performance. But I'm like, how quickly we forget
Beyonce did an
Beyonce.
amazing job,
How quickly we
but that's
forget
because she's a
Beyonce
woman.
and her tip off to the Black Panther Party. And remember that
And
next day, people
people were
lost
pissed.
their mind.
People
I
were
wish I
pissed.
had remember the clip that and I know you do because you're a big SNL fan. Remember that skit that they did the day white people found out Beyonce was black? Do you remember that skit? And it was after that Super Bowl performance, and it was perfection because before then, she was just very non-confrontational about her blackness. It was just like, I'm just gonna sing and I'm gonna be the girl from Houston. And she came out and she said, Happy Black History Month and ate it up. And
He's
between the two of them, I don't know. I would have to watch hers again, but I feel like it's neck and neck with the messages
watched
and the symbolism.
many a halftime show, and they're fun, they're
Mhm.
entertaining, but I could take my eyes off of them. I think maybe one that I really paid a lot of attention to was like Usher. I really liked his set was it last year?
He did a great
He
job.
did
He
a great
did.
job, but like a lot of them just kind of went over my head.
Mhm.
Honestly, I'm like, I'd probably go get a snack. I was glued. Okay. I was
Mhm.
glued. I was not trying to get up. I was not trying to take a break until after the last note was sung by him. And he wore that halftime game. He did such an
He
amazing job.
did.
And then game over at the end in the stands, it was all just
Fabulous.
impeccably done. Like the curation, the coordination. And there was a dancer from Boston. I got to get his name, but one of the dancers was the guy from Boston that
Mhm.
got to perform. It was really really good. And then Serena coming out and crip walking in their faces was fabulous.
Because she had did that after winning Wimbledon, and
And it
they
almost
people
ruined her.
lost their minds,
It almost
when
ruined
she
her.
did that.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I always, stand with my girl, and that was fabulous. One of the things I thought was like, I got to give you your apology. I did not realize how short he actually is. And when you were saying it last week, I was just like, you know what? Stop coming for my man. Stop coming for my man. And I'm
It's
like,
not a
ooh,
bad thing. I'm just saying he is
he is
just
short.
vertically challenged. The man is not
He
tall.
is short, but he was not short in other areas.
Miss Pat spoke on that. I don't know if you heard her
No,
mention
I
it
did not.
on her pod. So Miss Pat, shout outs to Miss Pat, the comedic genius. She
Hmm.
said she was like that dick print was what she didn't know she needed to see. She was like she was like he definitely was well hung. She was like them jeans were so tight. She was like them the kind of jeans my mama used to have to pull down to suck.
Oh my God.
Pat had
Oh my
me
God.
rolling. But she was just saying he was packing in
Yeah.
the heat in
He
the
is
tight
definitely a
jeans.
short guy. And
He's a short
I'm
king.
mad that the little clip that I did find didn't go in on Drake. Because when he said Drake's name, I
Hey
flatlined.
Drake. Yeah.
I flatlined. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, my daughter actually videoed my response to his performance. And I'm like, don't ever show that to anyone ever
Hold on, I'm
except for my
texting Mia
great
right now. Mia,
grandchildren.
send me the
No.
video. But you know what else? There was Kendrick. He's a very poetic. I mean, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning writer.
For a reason.
What a lot of people don't realize too is that both SZA and Serena dated Drake. They're both
See,
his
I
ex.
knew Serena did, but I didn't know SZA did.
They're
I
both his
didn't know.
exes. So just imagine wherever Drake is right now or was at that moment, your two exes and your arch enemy in the world. And
Super
when
Bowl.
I tell you, you could hear the voices from the stands
Yep.
singing in unison.
They were waiting for it. They were waiting for it.
It was beautiful and it didn't require a whole bunch of like aerial acrobatics. It was a very simply done but excellently executed set. The clown car with all of them coming up
Coming
out
out, yep.
of the vehicle, it was beautiful. I loved seeing those black men dancing and seeing
Me
them
too. Seen them hanging
harmonize
on that light pole.
and those black women squabble up, squabble up. I was like, yes, it was great. I loved
Yeah,
it.
I loved it. I did. And I read, quite a few people who did not like it. And they gave, what I thought for some of them. I'm just going from like black women that who I read didn't like it. And I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I can understand it. Maybe it wasn't for everyone.
you
And
don't
it
gotta like
definitely
it.
wasn't for people over 60 because that was the complaint I heard a lot of like women who I know, black women who are over 60, and they said, I don't think that was for me. Maybe it wasn't. They don't know anything about Kendrick. They don't listen. I've always listened to his
But
music.
people putting an age limit, I think, is a problem with this because I saw one post, oh, well, this isn't for people over 40. I'm like, well, I'm over 40. I loved it. I don't think it's an age limit. I think it's a mindset because any
Mhm.
black woman over 60 who was ever in or adjacent to Black Panthers or any kind of social justice, that should have hit you right here in your solar plexus.
But you
Like,
know
I'm
why
so
it
proud.
didn't? Because they couldn't hear the words. There were only a few things, you know the
Hmm,
beat, so you know what's about to come up. And I think a lot of them really could not understand what he was saying. And I kept telling
maybe.
people, if you didn't like it, go to NFL.com the next day and you could see a
But
crisp performance.
just visually,
I thought
it was so
visually,
pleasing
how'd you
to
miss
me.
that? Him on the and that's again, like I feel like the words really missed the mark. I mean, them not being able to hear it missed the mark. Just like when he was in the flag of black men and he's in the middle. If you can't hear what he's talking about and all you hear is be humble, you miss a lot of the artistry of it. If you're of a certain age, I knew what he was saying, and so it hit even harder for me. So I'm just saying, if you felt like you didn't get a message or you missed it, go and watch it on NFL.com. I feel like you'll have a whole new appreciation for it.
Another thing I encourage people to research is go back and look at the American Sign Language performance of that halftime show. When
Okay,
I
no, I
tell
mean,
you, they were the
work.
signers were
Mhm,
getting it. It was so good.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
It
I
was it
loved it.
was a really
Hey, if
good
you didn't
halftime.
like it, you didn't like it, that's fine. I don't expect you. You don't, everything's not for everybody, like you said, but
Exactly.
there are plenty of halftime performances. I don't never need to see the Katy Perry one again. Okay. I mean,
I don't
y'all
think I
loved it.
ever saw that one.
You guys loved it. I didn't.
Really?
It was all right. It was whatever.
But then also, people like, what's this going to do for his career? Well, it did a lot for his career. He was banging before this, and he
He
just
got there because he's
reiterated
already at the
who,
top of his
right?
career. He's
He just
already.
reiterated who he was on a national stage like that. He didn't try and change up who he is. He's Kendrick,
The
and
only
like you
thing
said, a Pulitzer prize winner. That says something. This man
he
knows how to use words.
he did not need, first of all, he didn't need that. They came looking for him. They jumped over Lil Wayne, who's from New Orleans, and other New Orleans artists to get Kendrick. They begged him to come
And
over
I
there.
remember that argument, and I'm just gonna say, Little
Little
Wayne,
Wayne
no,
could never. And
no,
and
could
and, and
never.
people were kind of upset with me when I said that at the Super Bowl party. I was like, Little Wayne could never have
He
done
could
this.
never.
He couldn't have done this. I'm not saying he's not a good performer. I've seen him perform. I actually
Mhm.
enjoyed his concert. But Lil Wayne was at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special and he performed a medley of his songs. Ain't no way he can
Oh,
hold
you mean
a
the
candle.
one that was on last night?
It was on last night.
Okay, I
Lil
missed
Wayne
it.
did a set. I have like I love all the songs that he performed. I'm not taking anything away from him as an artist, but stage presence, fuck no. Kendrick circles around him. I would have been so disappointed if they brought Lil
Hmm.
Wayne out for that
Yeah.
halftime game over Kendrick. If I knew I had the option of
Yeah.
Kendrick, no, absolutely not. He has no stage presence. He actually didn't even open his eyes for most of the performance. I'm like, are you okay, sir?
And that's the problem. I mean, like, when people were screaming that he should have been the showrunner for a New Orleans Super Bowl,
Because he's from
have
New
you seen
Orleans.
him lately?
He's
First of all, and
networking
the
well.
thing is, going back to the Pulitzer Prize winner. Kendrick knows how to use words.
Mm.
He is, I mean, he's lyrical, he's smart, he's very intelligent, and that's why he destroyed Drake because his intelligence is just, catastrophic. It's out of this world right now. Lil Wayne is a hip hop rapper artist. He's not on the same
He's
caliber.
talking about lick you like a lollipop. Listen,
Not
we
on the
didn't that
same.
that's
And
not what
we
we
liked
need
it.
in
We liked it.
2025. That's not what we need in 2025. We need strong voices, especially in Black History Month. But that's why they probably, would have been so happy with the Little Wayne because he would have been up there spewing nonsense, which is
Nonsense.
fine because it is entertainment. There's a time and a place for all that. I
Mhm.
honestly didn't think he needed to be on the 50th
I
anniversary of
know
Saturday
that
Night
was
Live, but
the
I guess
odd.
he didn't have nothing else to do. Clearly, he was available. So,
She didn't have to diss him like that, but no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him anyway. I mean, this man talking about dark-skinned women, and I know it was like
yeah,
10 years ago, and you got you sitting up there with a dark-skinned daughter, and the way you just disrespected all the dark-skinned women out
yeah.
here.
He's done a
No,
few
don't.
things that I'm
Yeah,
just not
he's very
fan of.
problematic. He's high. He's strung out on drugs. Leave that man alone,
I do
allegedly.
love his new fashion forays. I have to say, he had on like these really blousy, very couture pants, and
Hmm.
his fit was fire. I loved it.
Really?
But yeah, the rest of it, I'm just like, honestly, a lot of the stuff that's popular right now, I don't like, but I can stand behind Kendrick. Like people go crazy over Sabrina Carpenter. I don't get the fanfare.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Exactly. You don't even know who that is. That's okay.
Who is that?
She's the new blonde it girl, the girl next
Okay.
door. And she's attractive enough. Half the
Hmm.
time she got a wig on, which is fine, but I'm just like, she's this persona, and she looks for such a young girl. She appears to have a lot of Botox. Her face is like solid to the point of where it looks like it's about to bust.
Is this
So
the outfit he had on last night?
it is. I'm telling you, I liked it. It was a collared white shirt, a black
Huh?
sweater, series of chains, and then these really blousy, like taupe colored
Hmm.
wide leg pants. The fit was fire to me, but the
Okay.
performance, yeah, didn't like it. But
That hair, that was something. That was a look. That probably wasn't the most clearest picture. That was just the first one that came up. So I
I
want to
like that
kind of get an idea.
he's willing to explore. He's not all about like a sagging pant and a long white tee anymore.
Lil Wayne is?
Lil Wayne, but yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely finding his way when it comes to fashion. I really am. The thing that got me about Kendrick is like it's a full package with him because Dion
exactly.
Cole got really into a lot of trouble for wearing a bell-bottom outfit a few years ago. I don't know if you remember
Oh, I
that.
remember.
He said that wrecked his career. He lost a lot of gigs. People did not like him in the bell-bottom Gucci outfit that he had on.
Where was he at?
Messed him up. He was like at some kind of event or red
Huh?
carpet, and he wore these velvet bell-bottom flares with the jacket. I didn't like the outfit, but I didn't realize what a negative impact. He said he lost work.
Hey.
It ruined. He spoke about this on Club Shay Shay.
Okay, let me look that up. What was it? A
Yeah.
blue velvet?
He wore a couple of different ones, but it was either blue or purpley velvet. And I get what he was trying to go for, but it he doesn't have the swagger that Lil
Hmm.
Wayne has. I mean, I'm sorry, not Lil Wayne.
Really?
Yeah, he said it
Okay, you know what? Okay, I do have the picture. Let's take a quick look and see what that is about.
did not translate to him. And men, what's funny is on the internet, a lot of men are rating their wives closets and putting
Huh?
their bottoms on. White men are right in their wives' closet. That's the fit. It was a little intense.
I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it.
I don't love
And
it.
it was at the BET Awards. That probably was the problem. You know what? I find that I don't understand why people would lose their mind over that.
Well, because we know that people, especially when they're bored, they start
Mhm.
rumors and stuff. So he said there was like they were questioning his masculinity. There
Okay.
was all kinds of stuff. But
It's not a bad suit.
this is from his mouth. He said this on Club Shay Shay.
Mhm.
So, and that flare is a very dramatic. Kendrick's was like a light fit, fit and flared. Like Dion's flared from the kneecap down. That was a little intense.
I think it was that bad though. I
I don't
mean,
think it was that good for him. It didn't look good on him. I
I like the
even
jacket, I mean, I
and he's
felt
not
like it was
Donald
pulled
Glover.
together nicely.
I I could see Donald Glover doing something like that, and then no one batting an eyelash because he always wears very interesting garb. But it was so out of character, I think, for Dion Cole, and people just they did not his
And he
fan
lost
base.
gigs over that?
He said he did. That's what he told Shannon
Wow.
Sharp.
That's interesting. Well,
Yeah, Kendrick
you
ain't losing no gigs.
he has had a fabulous week and he deserves it.
And I hope that people keep that energy with him. It's like I said
Yeah.
last week, when people get into negative groupthink,
Hmm.
I just hope that it doesn't come a day when people turn on him for no reason. The
But there
way,
probably will be.
yeah,
There probably
that
will
makes
be.
me sad because
Yeah.
it's sad to see someone at their height and then people so excited to tear them down at any
And that's
opportunity.
pretty much so the case with Drake, how people
Mhm.
turned on him. I still feel like it's two different lanes, so I don't understand how you can be like so anti-Drake against Kendrick because it's two different types of music, in my opinion.
It is, but he's literally been like almost darn near blacklisted. You know what I mean? He's just
And did you listen to his new album that came out?
I think it played somewhere like and I
Mhm.
wasn't really even listening. I haven't gone to go listen to it, but I probably will. But and the thing is that people who are supposedly, I don't know if they're friends of his, but like someone who was it, Tracy Morgan, I think, or Cedric, one of those guys did a post and they were like, Drake, my daughter still loves you. And it was Drake and their daughter. And some people were like, read the room. This man's literally been accused of pedophilia. Like, why would you like, why would you post this?
How
And
old
then
is your daughter, sir?
and that's a backhand. It was a little girl. She was a kid, and that was a backhanded compliment to say, "Well,
Yeah.
at least my daughter still likes you." Like you're not even putting your support behind this man who probably you were at a party of his and you were going in
Mhm.
his, and you know what I mean, and mixing and mingling in his circles. But it's just interesting how the public opinion can get so crabs in a barrel. But anyway, great halftime performance. I loved it.
Absolutely
It's one for the
fabulous.
books. I'd be interested to see how they top it next year.
I think they're gonna go full on country.
Beyonce?
No, definitely not her. Definitely not her. Like you said, we had Usher was last year. I don't know who was before. I think J-Lo was before him.
Was she?
I think she did one recently. I thought
I
it was
don't even
before
remember that.
Usher.
You know what would be fire? If they got all the black country artists on there next year. Beyonce, is it Raina Reigns?
Mm.
Jimmy Allen, Kane Brown. Yo,
I wonder
that
what's.
woman who plays the fiddle, Brittany, she's a heavy set woman. She
Yeah, I
plays
know who
it
you're
from
talking about.
Alabama Shakes. Listen, where's the NFL people? Are y'all listening? All black country show next year. Let's go.
I don't think they'll do that.
Let's go. Listen, putting
It's
Kendrick
still Black History Month when the Super Bowl comes out, so you might as well stick with the theme. That's what I'm saying.
all black, everything country music. Like, oh, y'all want to hear some country? We got you. We got you.
And how many players, again, it's like what, 85 to 90% African American players.
Let's talk about Jalen Hurts just for a hot second.
Go
That's a
ahead.
fine man, okay?
What you want to
That's a
say about
fine
that?
that's a fine man. Oh my gosh, and he seems like he's so humble. He had an all purple suit on. I don't know if you saw him when he arrived. He
Mm-mm.
purple, full purple, and it's from his clothing line. It had like a little
Oh, he has a clothing.
inscription on the collar, and it was like in hot pink. What's the name of his clothing brand? Hold on. Jalen Hurts. excellent job. The other young man, Barkley, they all did fantastic. He's 26 years old.
What did they call him? Young Unk, because they said he has such a, a old man style.
He
And
was
he does. He just kind of, has that, old man style to him.
And of course, Travis Kelsey pulled up looking like he tried it with the fashion. He had on like a really 70s inspired, like a burnt, like brick red suit
Mhm.
with the bell bottoms, and he was looking very 70s and all that. But people were saying that was his walk of shame outfit because he definitely walked out of it not a winner. That's it. He wears a purple rain suit.
Okay, okay. All
That one
right.
right there. Yeah.
Okay.
It was interesting. It was an interesting choice for him. But he does have a clothing line and it's
Good for him having multiple streams of income. Don't just stop at one, bro.
yeah, it looked really good. I'm trying to remember what the inscription was on the collar, but
Uh-huh.
it was, very
Yeah.
curated. Very nice. I'm
I
proud of
do
him.
like him. And then
Congrats.
I was looking at clips about how people were saying he's never going to be a franchise player. He's not a good quarterback. He'll never be able to lead a team to the Super Bowl. They just, I mean,
They played so well together. They played so well together. And
yes,
one of them got fined for, I guess, I don't know if it was unnecessary roughness, but the way they mushed Patrick Mahomes in the face.
he deserved it. He deserved it. He's probably he's up there with Drake. I think he's up there with Drake as far as like the black community goes. No, we do not like you. You are not like us.
I don't listen.
Do not like.
I have very neutral feelings about him. It's neither here nor there.
I don't have neutral feelings.
He
I
doesn't
don't
seem like
like
he's
you.
down for
Don't like you.
for
And
us.
if you're not down for us, then there's no reason for me
I
to be
think
down for you.
he's one of those I want to keep the peace, but
No, no,
but
we don't
not
need that.
not in a good way. But the only thing that could have made I kind of wish Cap had come out during that performance. That would have been the icing on the cake.
You know what? That would have been a good one. That would
Yeah,
have been. That's a good one.
yeah.
All right. Well, again, congratulations to the Eagles. And can I say, I've never been a big Eagles fan, honestly.
I'm
Not.
only rooting for them because they weren't playing us in this East
But you know
Coast
why I was really rooting for them?
against the Chiefs.
That too, but because of Abbott Elementary. So
Yeah,
Abbott Elementary made me really fall in love with the Eagles because, Melissa
yes.
is
Sheminti.
a huge Eagles fan on Abbott Elementary, and
Yeah,
that's my girl in my head. That
exactly.
is my girl in my head. And so
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm rooting for whoever Melissa's rooting for. And I followed her on Instagram that night,
she's so funny.
the whole show. It's just phenomenal. So, all right, moving on. I did just see one quick thing before, because you mentioned how bad the weather was, and I thank God I missed some of it. But there were a lot of electric outages here in Rhode
Really.
Island. The winds are ridiculous. These winds, I'm like, I'm trying to get new siding for my house this summer. And give me some quotes. Anybody has some quotes, you want to run up to the house, give me some quotes. I'm like, is this wind gonna blow this old siding off and I'm gonna have to get new siding? It was very strong earlier.
I
Moving the
was worried
car.
about my barrels, and sure enough, when I went out to my car this morning, my trash barrel was up against my back bumper. I was like,
Did they have
okay.
pickup? Oh, you didn't have pickup today because today is
No,
President's Day. I forgot. Okay.
so now if you live in Providence, I got a message saying that trash is going to be its regular schedule this week. It's not delayed. So if you live in Providence, you just put your trash out the regular day.
I think I'll have to check. Okay, it's Monday. Okay, I'm like thrown off. So it is Monday. So I definitely would put mine out tomorrow evening anyway. But a lot of people did lose power, like in
I
areas
did
like
not hear
Lincoln.
that.
Lincoln, it's like over 4,000.
Wow.
The reason why I bring it up is because I have read so many complaints on Reddit Rhode Island about the cost of electricity and gas right now. And it always goes up, it
Gas
fluctuates.
is high.
It always. In the winter is bad, but I know I have a friend who said that her bill for just her electricity was like $500.
It's not that high, but ours is
I
pretty
thought
high.
500 was pretty steep. Mine is around that, 300 range. No, and I keep mine on 71 all the time. I'm not one of those people that, lowers it and then, come home because I feel like that wastes more. So I just keep it at one set
Yeah.
temperature and that's it. But $500, that's just the gas. I mean, just the electricity. And then her gas is the same amount. So she's dishing almost like
So
$900
here's the
for
thing.
that's
Well, they're
crazy.
probably referring to maybe the January bill.
Probably, yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of putting a whole bunch of holiday decorations out. I just, first of all, I don't have the energy. If I would
And
do
I'd
it,
be
I'd have
thinking
to
about
hire
that too.
somebody. And then on top of that, then you got to take it down like no shade, but my neighbors have literally have a fully dressed Christmas tree still on their porch. And it looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa is falling down. And I
Uh-huh.
know y'all walk out your house every day and won't bring this tree in the house. Like all those
Or
lights.
set it outside. I mean, is it like a fake tree or a
It
real?
must be a fake tree because
Okay, because it's still
It's
okay.
mid-February and it's still green. But
Yeah.
I mean, when they put it out at the holidays, I was like, oh, they showing out with this whole entire tree on the porch lit up and everything in the mailbox for Santa Claus. It's February 17th. Why is Santa's mailbox still outside? I think a lot of people go overboard with the
They
decorations,
definitely do. So they
and
can't cry about
that's
a high
your
electric
energy
bill.
bill. You trying to keep up with the
Can't cry about
Joneses.
that.
I mean,
I don't know what hers was, but now that you bring that up, that definitely is, December, January probably had the highest cost. But I feel like even still on the other end, Rhode Island Energy is doing a lot when it comes to to these prices. Like a delivery charge, why is the delivery charge more than the actual gas or
and
more
I'm
than
nervous to
yeah.
use these third parties because there's always these third parties trying to come to me like, oh, use us, and you don't have to use them as your supplier. I honestly need to do better research. I'm just nervous.
I have never seen a third party
I
electric
have.
or gas. Really?
Yes,
Maybe
girl.
Providence?
One of my friend's husband was, but he gets into a lot of uh MLM type deals. Those like those
MLM.
pyramid type things. So I
Yeah.
didn't trust him with the third party electric thing because I'm just like, is this another one of them those
Yeah, I've never, yeah, I
scammy
know I
things?
need you.
No, but you can. You don't have to use them as a supplier, but you'd have to do the research and figure out, okay, and you just switch it over. I get the flyers in my mailbox. I get
Mhm.
the phone calls about it. But
Really? I
yeah,
have
there is a way.
maybe it is by city, wow. Okay,
Mhm.
I would have to look into that myself because I didn't know that. That's weird. Yeah, so, like 71 temperature. I feel like that's good enough.
Girl, it'd be 78 and balmy in here. I don't care how much it costs. Send the
Yeah.
bill because I'm gonna be warm.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm not going to be cold in my house. I'm not going to be naked in my house in February either, but I'm not going to be
But I
cold.
also turn the fans on. Like we
Well,
still
that's
run
a
the
that's a
fan
nighttime thing
in
because of
January.
my medical condition called menopause.
So I don't complain about the bill because to be honest, I know I could be more efficient. I could be more
Mm,
efficient. Literally, my son runs his fan. I go in the living room, the ceiling fan is on. I'm in the TV room, the ceiling fan is on.
mm.
I keep the fan on by my bed all night long. So
No, you're really hot. I don't know.
if
I'm
the
only,
bill is high, I get it because I blame myself for that because I'm like, this is how I'm comfortable and I don't
but
care
you're
how
running
much it costs.
fans in all those rooms. Yeah, I don't get that hot. Like, I
It's
have the fan
it's
on like a
so
couple of times during the night. That's
so you
it.
know how some people need the TV to sleep?
You
Like
need the fan.
I need the fan. It's the sound,
My aunt
it's
used to be that way.
the breeze on my face. It's not even just that I'm hot, it's my comfort thing
Hmm.
for me to go to sleep. So
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm like, and I don't like to hear the fan. That's another reason why I actually don't have it on often. I have the little remote control. I get hot, turn it on, wait those 15 minutes, turn it back on.
and that's me for the TV. I cannot sleep with the TV or somebody's cell phone in my ear, but that fan is just that's my especially when that air hits the top of my head, I'm out like a light.
So another Rhode Island thing is that the assault weapons has been reintroduced to the legislation, which is good. And there
That
are a
is
lot
good.
of like of course, you're gonna have those gun groups. They're gonna have, and they're trying to get someone to pretend to be a Democrat to run against McKee. Now, I'm not a fan of McKee, but I don't definitely want a pretend Democrat to take his spot. But it kills me with these assault weapons. Like, of all the things that you really want to fight for is the right for you to own an assault weapon. When children are literally dying in schools because of assault weapons. I don't know what guns do to certain people's manhood, but please disconnect it from your penis size. You do not need a gun
Practical
to
use. Like,
walk around.
what is a practical, safe use for an assault weapon?
I don't know. I don't know. And I need people to really, tell me.
You don't need it to hunt.
You can't use it to hunting because you would rip the animal apart, and that's useless at that point.
It shouldn't. The fact that they can even be built and available to civilians is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And
A
you would think
handgun,
that
fine.
police, exactly, you would think police would be the most vocal about, saying no, no to assault weapons. Because if they have an assault weapon, that's puts your life in much more danger than it is going to a domestic violence, situation at somebody's home. And the guy or the woman decides to just whip out their assault weapon.
Well, I
You
hope
would
it
think
gets
that they would
passed.
be the most vocal. So, I mean, it's being putting up there. It's been put up there. McKee was talking about it last week. I think he's just trying to get on people's good graces. He didn't bring up the bill, but still, him kind of acknowledging it and talking about it on the news. I feel like he's trying to get in people's good graces because people are not pleased with his performance. But I'm definitely going to be watching that. I definitely want to see what these groups are that are protesting the assault weapons ban because again, why are you doing that? I want
Yeah,
to know reasons. So
it's yeah, hopefully this is something that at some point we will figure out because the rest of the world definitely looks at us as Americans as a bunch of idiots
they
when it
do.
comes to this because
Violent idiots at that.
yeah,
Violent idiots. We have so many different combinations. And it is, this week is school vacation week, which I didn't really realize.
yeah.
So there's a couple of things, I guess, going on. Did I write anything down? Well, it's the Newport Winter Festival. I've never been. I,
That's
have you
this
been?
week.
Yep, this week.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was thinking about bringing my little friend up there.
I wouldn't mind going to that. Newport seems to have a lot of things going
In the
on
winter
all
time, yeah.
winter. Yeah. So, and it's a good time to go because it's a
Not
little
as much
calmer, less
traffic.
tour.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought about that too. And there was also this other thing. It was a lot of things, but those were the two that spoke out to me was Native American storytelling, and
Mm,
it's by the Pocasset Wampanoag group, and I think that's in Massachusetts, I think. But it's Black History Month, and I do implore people to like read up on some Black history, go to the library, check out a book. But also, when it is a Native American history, I am going to make an effort to definitely read more about Native American history because I feel like I have kind of, shoo-shooed their history away. Like, I want to learn about my history and not really understand the horrific dealings that they were dealt just like
mm,
us,
still being dealt. Still
and
being
still
dealt.
being dealt.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally, you have to live on a reservation. It's insane.
Right.
You know, so I do want to learn more, but those are the two things. So it's the Newport Winter Festival and the Native American storytelling, and I think it's good and it says it's for all ages, and I do feel like, middle school and up definitely need to hear what
Be
it is
fun.
that they have to
And you
say.
know what there is that's going on, and I learned about this during the Providence TED Talk, and I'm not sure if you can still register for it for this vacation or if you
Mhm,
have to wait till the next one. There was a gentleman there that was saying that he has a space in the CIC building and it's for
mhm,
teaching kids STEM and STEAM, and these kids basically go during the school breaks. So I'd have to get that information again and post it on our page. But
mhm.
there are definitely some activities that can be academic. I know a lot of people
Mhm.
travel, they go on vacation with their kids during
Yeah,
this time. But if you're, if you're local and you're doing a staycation, there are a lot of things your kids can get involved with, especially if you're in this area. But all over the country, a lot of times there are
a lot
different
going on in
camps.
Boston too.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? You had a
Um,
hot topic for me, and I'm still like, I don't know
so
what happened, but I want you to tell me this story.
So I'm a big fan of Wendy Williams, have been for a very long time since her radio days. A lot of people find her to be very polarizing because her mouth could be a little intense. But there's no denying Wendy's like she's literally the queen of media. She went from college radio to regular radio in New York. I think she did a show in the Caribbean before, and
Huh.
then she got her famous talk show, and she had an enormously popular run on her talk show. She coined the how you doing phrase, and she
Hmm.
would get into the hot topics. What I liked about her is she brought current events to us in a way that she brought the culture to us, and she would
Hmm.
hobnob with all these people, but she would bring the culture, and she then became like this big crossover hit to where she was getting into households the way that Oprah was getting into like different demographics of households, but she still brought the black stories to us that we wanted to hear with the people we wanted to hear it about. Fast forward, Wendy ended up having trouble with substance abuse. She had health issues with Graves' disease. So she ended up having to leave her show. And Sherry Shepherd took over her show, and Sherry's doing a great job. But there's no replacing Wendy. So Wendy had gotten into a conservatorship against her will. So people may remember Britney Spears' conservatorship, where basically someone controls your money, they control where you live, where you go, all of that. It's very restrictive. So she was put in a memory care unit at this facility in New York. It's upscale, but she's in there with basically people who have Alzheimer's, people who can't remember anything, don't remember their own name. And she said, I don't belong here. It's mostly people that are older than me. And it's to the point where she can make calls going out, but she has the most basic model of cell phone, and she can't even press the elevator to leave the building without someone helping her leave the building. She can't
What?
come and go as she pleases, and it's really sad because she's essentially in the same situation that Britney Spears was in. The difference is Britney Spears' conservator was her father. So you would hope a parent would have their child's best interest in mind. This conservator is a complete stranger to Wendy Williams, and this woman controls every penny. Like if she wants to buy a fingernail polish, she has to get permission from these people to even buy something. Her son graduated from college last year. She had to get permission to go to her son's graduation. Her father had a 90 something birthday, and she had to get permission to fly to Miami. She's there now. She had to get permission to leave to go to her father's birthday celebration.
So how did she get into this conservatorship? Somebody has to go ahead, tell. How's that
I'm
happen?
glad you asked that question, Shahida, because many people may be asking that. So there was a documentary that was done about 2 years ago on this topic, and there's a new documentary out now that TMZ just did. They actually interviewed her. Harvey from TMZ interviewed her from the building, the conservator building that she's in, the facility. She's on a phone. They have her mic'd up through, thank God for technology, and he's in a satellite location. They had a drone camera hovering outside of her window so she could be on camera. This is how intense it is. They couldn't even get in the building to interview her. So her son became her conservator. Her son, Kevin, is maybe about 22, 23 years old. He just graduated from college. He's a young kid.
Huh?
He was spending her money in a little bit of a crazy way, and he was doing some things that caused red flags with her bank.
Uh-huh.
So he had a first birthday, for example. He spent something like $1 million renting a yacht or something like that, which I don't think is that crazy for the child of a celebrity. I don't think that's too much money to spend, but it apparently was the pace at which he was spending money, was some of the actions that were taken. When, according to Wendy in this recent interview, someone was impersonating her and getting access to her money, and her son had even hid her phone from her at one point
Uh,
and may have been doing some things with her phone. However, her being an alcoholic, an admitted alcoholic, and having a lot of alcohol related issues, including some memory issues because of the amount of alcohol. I could see him maybe doing some things and getting caught up.
It's horrible though.
It is horrible. It is horrible. But, there's this hashtag Free Wendy movement. People are trying to help her get out. And her niece, who is in the media, I think she's a news anchor in Miami, has really been fighting this valiant effort to at least have her released back to her family and a family conservator appointed, or at least just maybe some kind of life coach to help her with her drinking, to help her manage her Graves' disease. So according to Wendy, she's been there for almost 2 years or maybe 2 years and has not
So
seen
the son
a
put her in
doctor.
this conservatorship.
No, no.
So it was the
Wells
state.
Fargo, Wells Fargo, the bank, who doesn't want the son to spend up all the money because then it wouldn't be in their bank,
Yes.
they ordered the conservatorship. It is very fucked up.
And I don't know any man that has been in a conservatorship, any celebrity that
That
has lost
part.
their damn mind. I mean, we have seen points where like
I know
Martin
one.
Lawrence, Martin Lawrence, definitely Kanye.
I
Kanye
know
is
one, and I'll tell
who?
you who it is. Do you
Who?
remember Bam Margera from Jackass?
No.
Okay, so you
I
know
never watched
Jackass.
Jackass.
So it's basically a bunch of silly boys
Yeah, I remember the show,
doing stunts and pranks for whatever. So Bam Margera, he's Canadian. He was on the show and he did a lot of stunts and he'd play a lot of pranks on his father and whatnot. He's in a conservatorship right now.
now.
And
Okay.
the woman who was the conservator is like this 20 something year old woman who supposedly does all these therapies and stuff like that. He's the only man I know who's ever been in a conservatorship. I'm sure there are others. They're probably like non celebrity people who are in them. And I think it's a tool of manipulation and a weapon that's used against people who have money for their families or for other people. Because the thing is, once you are a conservator, you control that money and you could just say, I need this money for what, and you can just take their money too and
Yeah.
spend their money however you like.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that I would hope that they have like, some type of, protocol that they would have to follow to be able to take their money. But still, it's amazing to me how women like Brittany and her, for whatever reason, they earn that money. They
Right.
should be able to spend that money in any way that they want to. They earned it.
And there are reports of corruption in the
Yeah,
conservatorship
I would believe
system.
so.
These judges, they have affiliations with the banks and the it's very nasty and very seedy if you actually dig deep under it. I want Wendy to be free. I would love a Wendy Williams podcast so badly. I need her back. I want to hear what she because they asked her about Diddy. They asked her about a couple other things. They did ask her about the new administration. I and she was like, whatever, good for him. But I think she only said that because she has been disconnected from the internet for almost 2 years. So she has no idea what's really going on other than what people tell her. She doesn't have a tablet. She doesn't have internet access. She has the most basic cell phone for outgoing calls and no one can call her.
That's
But she
crazy.
called Charlemagne, she called the Breakfast Club, and
That's
that's how this
crazy.
kind of got kicked off. And then she got a hold of TMZ. So through three-way calls that her niece has been helping her to conduct, they're working on efforts to try to restructure her conservatorship. She definitely struggles with substance abuse and things like that, the
Yeah, so do
alcohol,
a lot of people. A
but
lot of
there's
people.
there
But
are other
again,
ways to
she
manage it.
worked her ass off. That is her money. And
Yeah.
shame on Wells Fargo and anybody else who co-signed that.
If I were
That's her
her,
money.
I would take all my money out of Wells Fargo
I would.
the minute, and that's what's going to happen. That's probably, why they do stuff like this. It's to protect their assets, other assets that really belong to other people. But that's when they get those big accounts, apparently they're weaponizing this to keep that money.
That's disgusting.
It is
And
very
I don't think
terrible.
that they would do that to a man. I really don't.
Hmm.
I really don't. So she's been in there for the last 2 years. I do hope that she gets out.
Yeah.
So the son, I mean, spending the $1 million, I thought that they had a better relationship than that.
He's 22.
I get it. I
or
get it. But
23
you
years
know what?
old.
Like the whole birthday party thing, if, I'm pretty sure she loves that boy to death. Her only child. She would have been like, yeah, co-signed on that or whatever. There might have been
And
some other stuff,
he
but
had
having somebody pretend to be her, you're 22, but you are grown enough to know right from wrong, and it is your mother.
She said it's other family members possibly that are involved in also like
Uh-huh.
other friends. So I think he was influenced. And I'm guessing he's just like, but she was with her son this weekend, at her father's thing. So it's her only son. She
Yeah,
struggled to conceive him. She had a lot of
I remember
trouble.
she was going through a lot.
Yeah. So that's her pride and joy. And I'm sure,
So
she
whatever money he wants, she's gonna be like, here you go.
right, but he got a little crazy, started going back to the till too many times, and I think the full story will come out, but it's sad. And she said my son is a good person, he's just not being a good person to me right now. So she said it out of her own mouth, you know.
Being a mother, it is not all, cookies and cream.
Yeah,
It's not, so you do have your ups and downs, and I know that must hurt her, that realization. So I hope that he does get himself together because him being 21 or 22, that's not an excuse to
yeah,
mistreat the person who brought you in this world and
yeah,
gave you every single thing you wanted
yeah.
and then some.
And I'm thinking now, like, is this him acting out because his mom was an alcoholic when he was growing up? Like, you know what I mean? It probably is a little bit of that. They probably
Yeah.
both need some
Oh,
very
so the alcoholism is not new. This is her
no.
whole
I
life.
mean,
Oh, okay.
Wendy would let you know she was doing coke the whole nine, like back in her day, and then the alcohol even more recently. Like even watching the documentary that was on a couple of years ago, she was like finishing bottles, like finishing whole bottles. Like her alcoholism was like it was really bad. But she went through one of the ugliest divorces publicly, and she's known for airing people's dirty laundry out. So then when it was her dirty laundry, it really hit her, and that was a big story. Her husband not only cheated allegedly, but had the mistress in a whole house, had a baby on her. Like it was bad. It
Yeah,
was
I
really
remember some
bad.
of the stories. I've never really watched her show. I'm not a big daytime
I
TV
went and
watcher.
sat in her audience
Yeah.
twice
I
and was on it virtually during the pandemic. That's my girl.
So she must not wanted to do a podcast because she definitely would have been sponsored by somebody big, had like, especially during COVID. So she must have like physical ailments that keep her from even doing that much.
So she has Graves' disease, which is
Okay.
degenerative. So it's like hyperthyroid, it's Graves, so it affects her eyes, it affects her balance, she has like intense swelling in her legs and joints. But on top of that, so when she was gearing up for this comeback, when the first documentary came out, she was like, "Oh, I'm going to sign this deal. I'm trying to go get this deal." She was trying to get another television deal,
Hmm.
and it was almost like she was highly optimistic about it, but it almost was looking like I think when she presented, they were like, she's not stable
Yeah. Yeah.
enough. She's
That's
not
why I was
stable
wondering. Yeah,
enough.
because I did notice like there have been times where I thought she was bipolar because there would be like very manic sides to her.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like
And
for
that could be.
her, she would make quite a bit of money as a podcaster. So
Oh my
for
gosh.
her not to be already in that game, I'm figuring it must be like some heavy health issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the future lies for her, but she's still a young-ish enough woman. She's only in her 60s, I think. I think there's a possibility if she gets the rehab that she really needs, not just being locked in a room with,
Yeah.
that's not any way to live.
Hmm.
So, and not seeing a physician, because she says she's not being seen for anything, she's just locked in this space. And she does have a television, but I don't know what they let her watch, or any of that.
That is horrible.
It is horrible. Just
Because
imagine being
Brittany
in the
was under conservatorship and she was able to stay at home, right? And what one time she was in a facility
she was in a
for
facility.
a brief
But
time.
just
Yeah.
imagine just the room that you're sitting in,
Yeah.
that's the space you're allowed. And
No,
then you
I would
can
go
walk
crazy.
into the hallway, but at the hallway is an elevator you can't access.
Crazy. I would go crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I feel bad for her. Like I said, I've never watched her show. I wasn't a huge fan. Definitely not after she went after my girl Whitney.
Oh my
But
God. That was one of the most epic interviews, but that's a pop culture moment. That was at
it
a
is.
moment where we didn't understand that Whitney was dealing with stuff. We thought that that Wendy was picking on Whitney, when in reality, Wendy was like, "I went down that road. I've been where you are, and I know what you're going through. And you're trying to pretend like nothing's wrong, but you are really on a path to self destruction." Her approach was a little harsh, but she
It
was
was
exposing something about Whitney that we weren't aware of. And then years later, she gets on TV and she's saying crack is whack and all this stuff. Like
But
this.
we saw it from the beginning, and that was part of the reason why she went on Wendy was
Mm,
because she was supposed to be like kind of clearing that stuff. We all saw
yeah.
what was happening, and we were all, hurt for her because Whitney is a freaking
Well,
icon.
Whitney
And
called
I
it
don't care
Whitney
what she
show.
used or what she did. Yeah, we saw that on that show that it was really personally things were getting out of hand and that there was some type of drug abuse happening. I didn't like the way I felt like she mistreated Whitney when she was at her lowest. And as far as like a sisterhood, a black sisterhood was, to me, it left a very bad taste in my mouth
Okay.
for Wendy, and I never recovered from that, and I never liked her after that because a lot of people that have come on her show are pretty much so at a low point. And I know that it's good TV to have a gotcha moment, but sometimes putting your foot on somebody's neck for ratings like she did Whitney, that was too much.
Whitney
That was
called
too
her.
far.
Whitney called Wendy. She didn't
Exactly.
invite her on
I
the
didn't know
show.
that she did. I didn't know that she had called her, but still, even if she did call you, it's Whitney Houston. I feel like, as a black woman and as a celebrity who she was and knowing what she was going through, you could have given her grace even if she called you,
Hmm.
even if you called her. So, no. But
So
I
her
do
whole
feel
thing,
bad that she's going through this. I don't want any woman to have to go through something like this because this sounds disgusting.
it is terrible. But
And if it's easy to take away her money and lock her up, how easy it is for somebody that doesn't have her resources.
exactly, somebody who's, people are just doesn't have anybody, or the bank just decided, like, what if the bank just decided I'm not mentally fit to own my home, so they take it back from me? Like,
A
how?
hundred percent.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just think
Horrible.
that I don't like that. But I mean, as far as Wendy goes, I think she found a softer edge during her talk show days. So on the radio, she was wild. She was like,
But
she
that was her talk show
no, that wasn't her talk show. That was her radio show.
when she went after Whitney.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was her radio show. That was way back in like the Vibe magazine days, the 90s, like whatever. Whitney called in and was like, put that B on the phone.
Mhm.
That's when that happened. But during the talk show era, she kind of eased into it. But she went toe to toe with some people that needed it. Omarosa. She checked Omarosa real quick a couple of times. There was some people that really needed it. But toward the end, she really did become beloved. She really did,
Mm.
and she found a better way to talk, but she would ask the questions that we wanted to know the answers to, and I think that's what endeared her to a lot of people.
I mean, she definitely had her base. I just was not part of it.
Yeah, I was like, I
Just,
love that.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can't take away what she did for media. She's not Oprah, but she's a version of Oprah when it comes to Black women in media. That definitely, deserves honor and deserves recognition for what she
I'll
did
have to
with.
look more into
Yeah,
that
look more
because
into it.
people don't. I've just never seen her show
She's
as
not she's not
anything positive,
just a
really. And
nasty woman. She's a
Sherry taking it over, that's the show that I want to see.
I've been watching Sherry, but there's still just something missing. There's just still something missing
It's the
with Wendy out of the
nastiness of
game.
Wendy.
It's not even the nastiness. It's the direct. It's that bluntness where she'll just ask the questions you really want to know the answers to.
Mm.
When Barbara Walters did it, didn't nobody say nothing to that?
Never
Like,
liked Barbara Walters. That wasn't, I don't like Well, I don't. It's just one of those kind of like catch 22 things too. It's just it's some people, Whitney. I don't want to hear it. I
You're
don't
like,
want to
that's our
hear it.
queen. You can't do it.
I
Yeah.
don't want to hear it, and I never got over that part.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I hope that she gets that settled because that's disgusting. That's
Yeah.
disgusting
It definitely was.
and scary.
Very, very. So just pay attention, look out for your parents and diversify your accounts. Don't put all your money in one bank or they'll be coming after you.
That's what. Anyway, all right. So we are
We're
at the
at
end. Is
time.
there anything else? I mean, today is a holiday, so we are, doing this
Yeah,
late. I
it's
am gonna
Barack Obama
wrap
Day.
this up. It is Barack Obama Day. I think he has like an Essence cover. This
Oh,
whatever, and they're
exciting.
doing an interview with him. I hope they ask the question that probably Wendy would ask, like, why was you kikiing with that man at that funeral?
That part.
Why was you doing that, sir?
But we are excited to be back. We're gonna have a guest next week. We'll save that. But we haven't done an interview in a little bit, so we'll have an interview for you all next week. But you know where to find us. You can follow us on social media, on Facebook, as well as Instagram at Little State Big Voices. Where will you not find us, Shahida?
Motherfucking TikTok.
Not yet. We're not there. We're not back there yet. We haven't decided if we're
That's
gonna
still,
even go back there. We'll
you're not gonna play in our face.
not
You're
at
not
all.
gonna play in our face.
But if you want to listen to the pod, if you want to watch full video episodes, you can watch us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify and anywhere that podcasts are heard.
So until next week, when we have a fabulous guest joining us, have a great week and happy Barack Obama Day, President Obama Day.